Morning.
Hey, Matt, since some dude on Twitter called me a failure at my job for not interrupting practice yesterday, walking across the field and asking Edgerrin Cooper why he dropped out, I'd like to ask at the appropriate time.
Wow,
Why Edgerrin?
you get a little sensitive, huh, Rob? Man. Wow. If you dish it, you got to be able to take it, right? All right, you're taking it? All right. Not taking it very well, but you're taking it. Because he had a little growing. So we'll see how he does. And but yeah. Yeah.
Carrington Valentine as well. I mean, I was answering there. Is that a day-to-day thing, something maybe longer term?
I think we're still kind of going through that right now, but certainly we're going to be very cautious when it comes to those. And, unfortunately, it's the price of doing business sometimes. You get into camp, they're bound to happen sooner or later for somebody. And he's been doing a lot of good things. He tried to power through it. It's just, that's not something that you just want to fight through all the time, or usually.
Jordan said that the touchdown play to Wicks at the end was something you guys had installed pretty recently. He said you put it in a couple days ago. Can you take me through what that process is? Because you hear that a lot in football, but it's not like they're computers. You're not like plugging something in. Like, what's the process of putting in a play?
Well, usually you see something on film, and you're always trying to exploit whether the defense might look at some of our protection schemes and want to exploit what our offense is doing, and vice versa. The offense might be looking at whether it's a front structure or how certain coverages play out, and usually that's how plays end up being developed. And so John Dunn did a good job of seeing a hole in the defense, and although we did not execute that play correctly, I don't know if he did say that. All right, good. We did have a bust on the play. That's why it's the result was a touchdown, but we want to be process driven, and the process wasn't right. So good play by those guys. Now there could be, I was telling the team today, could have been a potential push off. If that happened with our defense and an opposing offense, I'd be ticked if they didn't throw a flag. And conversely, if they threw a flag on us and we're on offense, I'd be ticked that they threw the flag. So, but that's just one of the deals that you're always kind of trying to. I don't think you necessarily scheme up each other in camp, because you really want to get your installs and the things that you can kind of forecast what you're going to be doing during the season versus whatever opponents. You want to kind of get ahead of that, but there is some competitiveness, I would say, that comes in, and a lot of, especially down in the red area, a lot of coverages, there's a lot of similarities between a lot of teams in terms of how coverages play out. So, but that's kind of the genesis of how that play came about.
With Jordan Morgan, I realized that nothing is decided, but he's taken those first reps at right guard the past couple of days. Is that a sign of where he is at in his development, that you think enough of him to at least give him that opportunity?
Yeah, he's done a really nice job. I think every day he's learning something new, and he's taking his lumps sometimes along the way, but is to be expected. But he certainly has everything you look for in a guy that could play in this league for a really long time. I mean, just the athleticism. And he just has to learn how to compete down in and down out versus really good competition.
What's the biggest thing you've maybe learned or discovered about Jeff Hafley and his approach that maybe you didn't know from interviewing his former colleagues or from just the hiring process?
I mean, I don't know. I think the longer you're around people, the more you learn them. But he's exactly what I anticipated in terms of just his attention to detail, his ability to connect with people, both coaches and players. My brother worked with him at two different stops in Cleveland and in San Francisco, so I had a pretty good idea of what we were getting into.
What have you seen from TJ Slayton in this new defense?
I think TJ's had an outstanding camp. He really has. I think just he, quite frankly, he's surprised us in some ways. He just has been his ability to get off the ball and wreck double teams, whatever it may be. I think he's done a really nice job. So I'm really excited to see how he's progressed. You never quite know how one guy's going to transition to a certain style of defense, but he's done a really good job.
Matt, when it comes to the one-on-one reps, like what are you looking for as a coach when you look at them on tape?
Well, just playing with great fundamentals. The one-on-one isn't necessarily the most realistic thing because, there's 20 other players out on the field. So, but just looking at playing with good technique, good fundamentals, making sure the wideouts are releasing the right way, the DBs are playing their technique up front. It just really comes down to fundamentals.
Same routine for Saturday, or is there any wrinkles that you might be really cheering on, or anything different you might be seeing?
Say that again?
For family night, is it going to be business as usual, same kind of process, or do you guys change anything up then?
I guess you'll have to come to find out.
Live at all with Tuesday release or anything like that?
Guess you'll have to come to find out. Do you want to see live? Do you want to see some live tackling to the ground? All right, for you, Spoon, we'll do it. Done.
Hey, what have you thought of Monk and Glover?
Just young players that are learning how to play this game at this level, and I think they possess the qualities you look for in terms of the physique, the athleticism that we're looking for at that position. I just think that they've got a lot to learn, and it's going to be great to see how they progress throughout the course of the preseason when we get into games and what they're able to do.
Reps against, in Monk's case, against the ones more often, or Glover against the twos, just to kind of see them against better guys, or they have to earn that opportunity?
I think they got to earn it, but at the same time, I think you're going to see that. So you'll see some today with Monk.
You ever learn anything about a young player on family night that maybe you don't learn on the regular practice field? Like, does that happen?
Yeah, I think so. I think just the atmosphere, having that many fans come out, I think it naturally just ups the urgency. It feels truly like a preseason game, and that's why I love it so much, is to get all our fans in Lambeau. I think it kind of is a great opportunity for these guys to kind of get that feel without it being a real game, just so that when we get to our first preseason game, it's not the first time they've been there.
Going back to the tackling, is there anything you need to do different with the new hip drop tackle rules, or anything that you've emphasized with the team?
No, we definitely talked about it in terms of, I think one of the key elements is that you have to put yourself in a great tackling position, and you got to make sure you're running your feet on contact. You just see it all the time with this tackle. Obviously, it's extremely dangerous for whoever's carrying the ball. Just the unloading of the weight, and it usually is because guys, number one, don't get in a very good tackling position, and then they stop moving their feet.
So there's been a lot of buzz around your rookie safeties, I think for good reason. Looks like they've really shown out here early, but what did you see from Anthony Johnson Jr. yesterday? And your longest practice, he was with the ones, seemed to acquit himself pretty well.
Yeah, he's had an outstanding camp up to this point. I think it's a very competitive situation. He's really learned a ton. He's made a huge jump, I would say, in my eyes, to this point from last season. Now, he's got to go out and do it as we get to, some live bullets in terms of those preseason games, and so it'll be interesting to see how he does. But I'm excited for him.
Regarding the joint practices, I know a while ago you had said you were doing one-day sessions this year because a guy got to be like an MMA in the second day. But you had that one-day session in Cincinnati last year that still got pretty heated. I'm just wondering, what is the benefit of doing just the one day versus, can you get enough out of just the one day?
I think so. I just think it's great to change a little change of scenery for the guys, different guys that they're going against. I think our guys get tired of hitting one another, and so just it definitely amps up the level. It's good for really every phase to see different looks and see different players.
There are some teams doing, like, I think the Rams are having like 4 different one-day sessions. Do you think 2's kind of ideal, or would you give thought to maybe having more down the road?
Yeah, I would absolutely welcome that, but I think there's a lot more teams in that LA region right now that are practicing out there.
Do you care about the jerseys, white ones?
Don't we wear white on the road every away game?
Wow.
But these have white helmets.
It's a big deal.
Oh, the white helmets. Forgot about that. No, I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. Something that I think will bring some juice to the locker room. I think the guys are excited about it. I know we got a little sneak peek of it when they were doing the shoot for it in the spring, and I think they really liked them. Do you guys like them?
Yes.
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 A resounding yes.
Yes.
I'm very stylish, as you know, so it's super important to
I
me.
know, no doubt.
Can I ask one last thing? How beneficial has the 2-minute been so far? Do you let Jordan call his own plays during that whole thing, or is everything scripted in that as well?
No, that is a call it period. That's one thing that we allowed him to do. I just think it's good for him to be in an uncomfortable situation and get that experience. So it's kind of a work in progress, but as far as he called the majority of the plays yesterday in the 2-minute, and we'll follow that again today with him doing that. I think it's just really good. Number one, I want to see what he likes and what he's thinking and why he's thinking. I think that'll help us moving forward when we get into games. That's certainly an area where we've got to be better. And so it gives, I guess, our coaching staff an opportunity to see what he really likes and what he's calling in those situations.
Calling whatever.
Yes, Halfley's calling it.
I mean, whatever he wants to call it.
Yeah, absolutely. And usually it's harder, to be honest, in these settings than it is when you're going into a game, because, I mean, you game plan and you have a better idea of what's coming at you versus the whole playbook. So I think it's hard on both sides because you really don't know exactly what they're going to do on either side of the ball.